I've never made work purely out of a formal interest in the material of it. I've always been more interested in the driving narrative and the testimonial part, because I feel like our stories are not there. So my practice is really spread out over a number of what I used to think is separate areas, but I think it's probably all part of the whole. So one is, of course, the making of pictures. Then I teach, and I've been curating, and I've been editing in the sense of making books and making catalogs. Also just working with the community, by which I mean, in my case, in the 80s I was very personally involved with race and gay activism and AIDS activism. And I feel that's the source of a lot of the inspiration for the work, that contact with the community. New Contemporaries became something very interesting because there weren't many places for students to apply to anyway, and certainly for us photography making students to apply to try and place your work in some fine art context. It felt like this was a kind of promising, defining launchpad moment for somebody just leaving college. I used to carry my camera everywhere and take lots of pictures all the time. It's the kind of picture that I thought I wanted to take when I was younger. It's a standard lens, it's a normal 50mm lens. All I've done is fill the frame with his head. He was gay, and it was a portrait of him, and the idea was to get more pictures of people like him out there. It's a kind of precursor to a lot of race and gay stuff that followed it straight after in the 80s. After I left college in '83, one of the things that had come up by then were a number of locally funded photography organizations. And I got involved with one called Camera Work. Camera Work used to be a gallery and a darkroom and a very influential magazine. We decided we'd like to do a lesbian and gay show. We also proposed to run a LGBT youth workshop for an organization called ILEA, which was the Inner London Education Authority. Suddenly there was this backlash because the Clause 28 thing happened. So what happened to our show was that the schools immediately cancelled the tour of the workshop pictures, which was a shame because their kids had made it. They were discouraged from remaining here and doing things here. The few that I know about went on to be quite vocal in their lives in other ways. So I think we did influence a group of people. New Contemporary is one of the places that gets a lot of publicity. You get to be seen in different places, and there's different ways it can be talked about. I think for students now, New Contemporaries is becoming ever more significant because they're very aware that they have to launch their careers as soon as possible. It's definitely very urgent, and I can't imagine there's many places that present opportunities like that.